Hello, we're continuing to work our way through Isaiah chapter 53, and we're going to have a look at verses 7 to 9 just now. So, let's read them. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter. And as a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away. Yet who of his generation protested? He was cut off from the land of the living. For the transgression of my people he was punished. He was assigned a grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, though he had done no violence, nor was any deceit found on his mouth. Now we should remember that these words were written hundreds of years before Easter when Jesus was crucified. And some of you will know that in the Dead Sea Scrolls, there is a complete copy of the prophecy of Isaiah found there, dated, I think it's dated between there's various dates given between 100 and 350 years, something like that, before Christ. And we see many of these things here, all of it in fact, fulfilled by Jesus. It says, he did not open his mouth, led like a lamb to the slaughter, was silent like a sheep before its shearers. One of the surprising things at the trial of Jesus was that he, most of the time, remained silent. Now, imagine, how do you react if you're accused? How do you react if you're falsely accused, as Jesus was? Keeping silent is the hardest thing to do. And then he knew what he was being led to. And he went in obedience. It is by oppression and judgment he was taken away. It was the trial of Jesus it was a show trial. Didn't follow any of the norms of the way the trial should have been enacted. The priests were utterly corrupt. They just wanted to get rid of him. Justice meant nothing to them. For Pilate, he knew Jesus was innocent, but he wanted a quiet life. So he let Jesus be crucified. He agreed to have Jesus crucified. So Jesus was cut off from the land of the living. Jesus died on that cross. He was crucified and he died. Then we get, for the transgression of my people, he was punished. On the cross, it's not just an example. Jesus is always an example. But he's so much more than an example. He was punished for our transgressions, for the transgressions of God's people, for your guilt and for my guilt. God was placed a judgment that should have been on us, on me, and on you. It was placed upon Jesus. And thank goodness that it was. Because it means that we can stand before God. And then it says, he was assigned a grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death. But how could that happen? And yet it did. We know that either side of Jesus, there were criminals being crucified. One of whom put his faith in Jesus, and one of whom didn't. But then Joseph of Arimathea gave his tomb for Jesus to be buried in. So this was fulfilled. He was assigned a grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death. As we know, he didn't stay in that tomb. But we'll come to that later. Though he had done no violence, nor was any deceit in his mouth. Jesus was perfectly innocent. Oh, he was more than perfectly innocent. He was completely good. But he went to that cross to take upon himself the punishment that should have been ours. And that's the good news of the gospel.